In this video, I will demonstrate how to use the SAS Visual Analytics Data Edit Report option to allow report users the flexibility to change object role assignments. Before I start this demonstration, I want to walk through the available viewer customization levels. Starting with the level that gives the report viewer the least amount of flexibility is the Simple Edits level. The Simple Edits allow for the report viewer to sort data, hide legends, and show data values to report objects. The next level, Comprehensive Edits, which is the default level, gives the report viewer a little more flexibility. This lets the viewer alter the original intent of the report by allowing the viewer the ability to change object types. For example, you can change a list table object to a bar chart. Last is the level that the demonstration will focus on. It's the Data Edits level, and this gives the report viewer the most flexibility within the report. Here, the viewer can, of course, perform all of the previous level's functions, but also allows the viewer to change the object's data role assignments. The viewer can also add or change filters and ranks. This feature helps meet the requirement for users to be able to select which measures and/or categories are to be displayed in objects, including the type of object. Sometimes this is referred to as self-service reporting needs. Let's get started with the demonstration. I will be using SAS Visual Analytics 8.5 for the hands-on portion of the video, but this feature was introduced in the previous 8.4 version. I will start with an existing SAS Visual Analytics report. In this demonstration, we are assuming that this report has two pages. The first page is named Dashboard Summary, and it uses one of the available out-of-the-box page templates. Our main focus for this demonstration will be on the second page, named Self-Service Visuals. First, let me show you where we can set the viewer customization level. We have to be in Edit mode, and we'll be using the Options pane. From the Options pane, click on it to expand it, and we want to navigate to the report level. From this drop-down, we can see our pages and the objects we have on each page, but at the very top, we want to go ahead and click on it to get to our report level. Here we can see the available sections for options. We can expand the viewer customization grouping, and here we have our capability levels. We have simple edits, comprehensive edits, and data edits. You can see for this report, I've already moved the slider up to data edits and saved my report. On the self-service visual page, you can see I have two objects, a line chart and a crosstab object. The line chart has two measures assigned to it. When I activate the line chart by clicking on it and select Role Assignment, here we can see the category date by month, and I have two measures, Product Price Actual and Product Price Target. Down below, we can see the data roles for the crosstab object. Let's go ahead and switch to View mode and look at what we can do with our Data Edits capability. The first thing I want to show you is how to pin the right pane. You can use the button up at the top to show side pane, or collapse it, or you can simply hover over to the right and click on it to pin it. Then you can use the data pane to open the data pane. Right now we have the crosstab object active, but the first object we're going to work with in this demonstration is going to be the line chart. In this example, I want to remove the current measures and select a different measure for this line chart. So from the data pane, in one of the measure areas, you can right-click and remove all. You could right-click on one of these particular measures and remove all, or you could right-click at the top lever of the measure grouping. Once you removed all of the role assignments, you could use the Data Assign button to select a data item, or you can use the data pane on the right-hand side. For this particular example, we're going to head and select Profit. Now let's say we want to see a bar chart instead of a line chart. Keep the line chart active and we'll use the Overflow menu and use the Change Line Chart To, and we will select Bar Chart. By default, the bar chart will sort the measure values descending. But let's go ahead and change the sort order date by month to ascending. We're going to right-click on Date by Month, up at the top choose Sort, and then Date by Month ascending. Now instead of date by month, let's look at Facility Region. Again, demonstrating how we can change role assignments using the Data Edits Viewer Customization level. So again, we could right-click and say Remove All in our category option. Since we're just swapping out a single value though, however, we can actually click on Date by Month, and in this example, we're going to select Facility Region. Now let's look at a few examples of how you can enhance a report from View mode. The role changes feature is the feature you get with the data edits level. The object change feature comes with the default level comprehensive edits. Simple edits allows you to sort data, which I already demonstrated, but you could also add data values. To do that, from your active object, right-click in the object and look for labels, and we're going to add data labels. Moving back to the data role assignments, which is the data edits capability level, let's make one more change to this bar chart. Let's add product line to the group role. And then we're going to change the grouping style to stacked. Again, right-click on the active object, navigate to grouping style, and select stacked. Here, if you don't like the data labels, you can either turn them off or turn on segment labels. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the labels because I want to demonstrate adding filters and ranks. Before we add a rank, let's go ahead and swap out our facility region to facility state. And next we're going to look at the bottom 5 performing facility states by profit. To do that, we're going to use the ranks pane. We're going to add a new rank for facility state. And we are interested in the bottom 5 by profit. And finally, let's add a filter. Again, with our top object active, we're going to use the filters pane. We're going to click new filter for product line, and we're going to only inspect game right now. So right now at the top, we're looking at the bottom 5 states by profit, and we're only looking at the game product line. Now we can see why the documentation mentions the notion that viewers have the ability to alter the original intent of the report by not only being able to change object types, but also role assignments and by adding filters and ranks. To demonstrate another object enhancements, let's go take a look at the crosstab below. Here I just want to emphasize the fact that options are object sensitive depending on the type of object. We're going to go ahead and add a heat map cell graph to the profit column. We'll go ahead and right-click on profit, select add cell graph, and heat map. We'll go ahead and sort descending, and here we can see another change that we've made. Let's move forward on to considerations. The most popular question that comes up when a report designer wants to open the data edits viewer customization level up to its viewers is how do you control the list of available data items? Looking at this crosstab, if I go ahead and switch back to the data pane and I wanted to add measures, how do we narrow the available measures that are available for selection? It may be that you only want the viewers to have the option of a handful of data items and not the entire data source. We can do this by using the Show Hide Data Items feature from the data pane in edit mode. So let's go ahead and switch back to edit mode. And this is best done when you are ready to have the report go live, which is close to the end of your report development. So I'm going to go ahead and expand the data pane on the left-hand side here. And from the data pane overflow menu, I'm going to select Show or Hide Data Items. You can see here from this list, I've already chosen to hide many of the longitude and latitude measures for this demonstration. But let's go ahead and hide all of the measure values except expenses, profit, profit moving average, and revenue. So I do not want employees used or the different breakdown of expenses. These are all categories, so here I'm just looking for measures. I'm going to keep profit and profit moving average. I'm going to keep revenue. And remove those. I'm going to click OK. And let's go ahead and test this. Click Save. And switch to view mode. So now when I click on the crosstab to activate it and expand the right-hand pane, and I have my data pane, if I choose to add, we can see I already have profit and expenses, And then the other two remaining values, profit moving average and revenue, are the only ones available. The reason I recommend performing these steps close to the end of the report design is because even in edit mode, these show hide data items take effect. So if I were to switch over to edit mode, you could see for even crosstab, I have a limited number of items that I can select here, as well as in the data pane. To unhide those data items, again, you would use the data pane overflow menu and show unhide those data items. Another usability feature I want to point out is that each user will come back to their own last saved state for the report. I'm going to log out and log back in as a different user to demonstrate this. So let me sign out and sign back in. And I'm going to open the report. And when I log into this report and I switch over to the self-service visual page, you can see that this report looks entirely different than the original report. You can see when I maximize this top object, you can see that I'm looking at a box plot of unit yield rate for every product. And down at the bottom, I have a targeted bar chart looking at unit yield actual versus unit yield target for the products. What I want to demonstrate is the state of this report for this user is how they last left the report. If you want to get back to the original state of the report, then we will use the Report Overflows menu and select Restore Default Report State. And let's go ahead and toggle over to our self-service visual page, and we can see that the original state of the report has been restored. For more information, please refer to one of these additional resources. Thank you, and check back with the Technical Insights and Expertise series for additional tips.